Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony and welcome to another edition of BnA Sports Talk. So let's just jump right into it. So much news happened last night in the NFL. I'm probably going to post like 2 or 3 videos a day starting now. Plus I skipped like 2 out of 3 days a couple days ago. So you guys deserve it. Let's just jump into the news. So Frank Clark, defensive end on Seattle, got traded for a first and second round to the Chiefs. And the Chiefs restructured his contract with like $105 million and $63 million guaranteed over 5 years, I think. Yeah, that would make the most sense. I was trying to think. Yeah, it was over 5 years. Now, this has 2 underlying problems for both teams. Let's get into Seattle first. This is the first sign now that Seattle is going to have problems paying people when Russell Wilson is under contract. Now, the Cowboys were able to play DeMarcus Lawrence, high graded defensive end, because not a lot of players under contract yet, so they picked and chose their players. This is the first sign for Seattle. Hey, you can't sign these big guys anymore. You can't keep them. And defense, what Seattle did is build through the draft. So I think this is right. Get a first round. So now you have 2 first-round picks and a second from next year. I think this is a good move from Seattle. Get some draft picks. You build through your draft. That's what they realized a couple years ago. You have to get some young talent. You can't bring in free agents and you can't sign people to big deals when you signed Russell Wilson. So we'll see. This is the move that they had to go to because they realized Frank Clark, he had some off-the-field problems. You get that out of the locker room. Now, if you look at their defensive line, not that much talent. So now you lost Earl Thomas and you lost a defensive end. So now you're going to place those in the draft, some nice cheap contracts. And plus they're late in the first round, so you get to have a 5th-year option on them. Get to control them for a little bit, and I think this is overall good for Seattle. But again, first warning signs of paying Russell Wilson. They have a lot of holes to fix. They're not in Super Bowl contention this year. We'll see how it plays out. Now, as far as the Chiefs, I made a video like a month back saying the Chiefs have locker room problem. Oh God, do they? So what they ended up doing is flipping basically D Ford and their first round pick for Frank Clark. Now, apparently Frank Clark is a better player. I don't know. I didn't really watch Frank Clark. He didn't jump out of my screen. I saw he wasn't that big of a leader on Seattle's defense. That was more Bobby Wagner on the. Bobby Wagner was a real leader on that defense with KJ Wright. I think Frank Clark is a good signing for the Chiefs. This means they're all in. This means they have a 3-year Super Bowl window. They're saying before we pay Patrick Mahomes, we're going to try to win a Super Bowl. I don't think their secondary can be much worse than last year. You have Steve Spagnuolo. Apparently Frank Clark is going to work really well in their 4-3. Now you don't have a first-round draft pick. This is challenging. You lost Eric Berry, but I don't see how this defense can be much worse than last year. But if you look at this offense, they lost some weapons. So this whole team is riding on Patrick Mahomes' arm now. Hope they know that. His second-year quarterback. It's all riding on Patrick Mahomes to win this. They see their Super Bowl window. They see it's now. They're trying to attack. And I guess I'm for that. But I'm concerned about their locker room right now. If you look at it, so many problems. You have Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt that had to leave. Now you bring another guy, Frank Clark, who was accused of some things before. I don't know. I said one of the main things in my Super Bowl window video that I'm going to make is, I actually have it recorded. I don't have it edited yet. I said you can't have a glaring hole, which is the Chiefs secondary. That's why they couldn't win the Super Bowl last year. And you can't have a locker room problem. Everybody has to be fighting for the same thing. Now, I guess these people are leaving, but then I don't know. I don't know about the Chiefs. But again, they're all in. Andy Reid wants to win. He's done with this, like, okay, we'll just compete as it is. He sees his window as now. He sees his guys, Patrick Mahomes. And we'll see how they do. So the league is shifting a little bit. It's turning into draft heavy and picking up draft picks, kind of like how Seattle accumulated that defense, even how the Bears accumulated their defense at first. And then it's now shifting into, once you get all that talent, then you have to go big free agent. Try to win it all, especially when you acquire a cheap rookie quarterback. Both teams are trying to do that, but we'll see going forward. Next thing I want to talk about is Josh Rosen. Now, why is he learning the playbook? Why is he doing all these things when he pretty much knows, I think at this point, that he is not going to play for the Cardinals next year? Well, they might keep him on the roster, but he knows if he's going to compete. I think what he's doing is he's trying to upgrade his trade stock, but why would you do that? It honestly would be harm to him to do that because it'll be less likely that you are to leave, and I think what he wants to do is leave, get a new change of scenery. Right now, that's what I think his mind is at. But he wants to up his trade stock so it's not like, oh yeah, Josh Rosen got traded for a bag of peanuts and some cheese doodles. I don't know. That's why I think Josh Rosen is now. That's just a quick thought. Next, let's go talk about some free agents. So there's a lot of free agents that are not signed yet. I think they're going to get signed after the draft, but it's a lot of old people. It's not a lot of young people. It's upper 20s, lower 30s. You have Ndamukong Suh, Ezekiel Ansah. And I want to talk briefly about Michael Crabtree and why I think he'll be a great addition to the Patriots. Well, he's been kind of productive. He caught 2 touchdown passes in the Ravens game against the Chargers in the playoffs. I think he's a very viable guy. I think they should have brought him in instead of Demaryius Thomas. Doesn't have an injury history, great locker room presence. I remember when he was with the 49ers, never was a problem, always was a reliable guy. He made Richard Sherman make a speech about him. That's how good he was. Don't talk shit about me. He kind of galvanized, I think, the whole wide receiver core, and I think that'll be a good thing bringing to the Patriots locker room. And they apparently they're gonna re-sign Josh Gordon. I'm not too sure about that. They see something. We're not there. They see something in Josh Gordon, or they're just really desperate. I think a little bit of both, but we'll see what the Patriots do. They have an easy schedule this year, but usually when they have an easy schedule, they underperform. Remember last year they lost to 5 teams that were non-Super Bowl, non-playoff teams. They lost to 5 teams last year that were non-playoff teams, and this year they're playing a lot of non-playoff teams from last year because their schedule is so easy. They play 6 non-playoff teams in their division automatically. So I think the Patriots take a step back this year. I think they lose a lot of close games. They're going to win those tight games. I don't trust them against the Giants. It's like, I don't trust them against the Giants as if I'm a Patriots fan. But they're going to win the tight Monday night games against the Chiefs, the Steelers. They're going to win some of those games. But you got to watch out for some of those low-key games. The Patriots are going to beat teams like the Browns because, coaching. But there are certain teams on that schedule where I go, that could be an upset looking right there. And, with teams like the Bills and the Jets with the late season surge, I'm not sure. But now I really want to continue me talking about the free agents. Different free agents like Ndamukong Suh and Ezekiel Ansah. So the thing is with these guys, they're the top premier pass rushers. And people realize they don't really want a guy bringing into the locker room that's a problem. Ndamukong Suh has been a problem. Ezekiel Ansah, he has injury problems. Now, do I think these guys are going to sign eventually? Yes, because a team will get desperate. A team in the draft will not get their need. Let's say the Falcons or something, and then they'll bring in a guy. I think Eric Berry will be a perfect fit for the Atlanta Falcons. It's just that Atlanta Falcons don't have that much money to spend. That's the main problem. You have to renegotiate some of these contracts. The Falcons' offensive line is pretty good. They kind of got battered with injuries last year, so I think and you're paying the offensive line, it's something like $35 million or something. But the offense is getting paid so much. You need to start paying more, I think, defense. You have some really young talent, but that secondary needs some veteran leadership, and I think Eric Berry can bring it to the team. The thing with Ndamukong Suh is he has locker room problems, and he wasn't that productive with the Rams. Especially with Aaron Donald, you would expect his productivity to increase. So it's going to be hard for Ndamukong Suh to find a team, but a team will be desperate towards the beginning of the season where it's just like, we need to fill that DT spot. Maybe the Texans, because David Clowney and Ndamukong Suh, that could be lethal. That could be really lethal. But looking at the other running backs available, Jay Ajayi, you have Powell, Marshawn Lynch. Running backs don't age well in this league, and so you really don't want to bring in one of those guys. Again, a desperate team. The Giants brought in the guy from the Panthers, Jonathan Stewart, that's his name, and he ended up signing a one-day deal and retired with the Panthers. So I think a team like the Rams may pick up one of these guys just as the backup to Todd Gurley, just in case he gets injured, because the Rams have some spots they need to fill on their roster, like linebacker, offensive line, that they'll do through the draft. And I think running back you can almost solve through free agency. And there are not that many teams that I think will do this. So another team like the Vikings, you have a running back already. The guy out of Florida State, forget his name off the top of my head, but he's coming back uninjured. So I'm not sure if you want to pick up a running back in free agency. The Raiders might get a little desperate if they don't get a running back, but I think they will with either the 24th or the 27th. I really think that they're going to pick up Josh Jacobs before the Eagles can. And yeah, not too many teams really are desperate need for a running back, because running back isn't that important of a position. You want offensive line first. You want to focus on that first, and especially all these guys are old, and old running backs, unless you're Adrian Peterson, don't really end up working out. And Jamie Collins has kind of been bouncing around since he got bounced from the Patriots to the Browns, and he never really sparked at all. He had a couple games where it's just like, oh yeah, he can. He's a pretty serviceable guy, but outside linebacker for the Browns, I don't think teams are in the market anymore for old defensive talent that have to pay a lot. You have to be a top guy in order to get paid in this